Hello there everyone, it's King Sloth and welcome back to another reaction video. Today we're reacting to a past event which is India versus Portugal in the war for Goa. This was in 1961. I'm not too sure on the actual history of this, but luckily I found the channel called History Class which go over a lot of previous old battles, so I'm definitely going to follow their channel a bit more and find some more content like this. This was recommended in one of my comments, it got added to the list, so it's getting done. For those who don't know me, my name's King Sloth. I was in the British Army for 7 years before transferring across to the Royal Air Force. I do YouTube on the side where I react to different services, militaries, cultures, and have a little dash of like vlogging on the side, which is good. We were aiming for 4K subs by the end of the year, and we're smashing that goal already, but let's keep adding that total. Let's get it up, let's smash it. Comment down below what you want me to react to next. You can message me on any of my social medias too. They're all down below in the link tree. Got Facebook, Instagram, X, Discord, TikTok. I've got everything. You can message me on anything. I'll get added to the list and done. But you're not interested in that. You're interested in reactions, so let's get into it.
In December 1961, India annexed the Portuguese Indian territories of Goa, Daman and Diu after a short war with Portugal.
Okay.
The ratio of forces was more.
Okay, but that was sorry. That's a flag of. Where is that? I'm trying to think where. That's India, isn't it? Yeah, that's not even. That's Bombay. So that's.
What
did Portugal have
10 in favor of the
territory
Indians,
there anyway?
and after 2 days of conflict, the Portuguese decided to surrender to avoid unnecessary losses.
Yeah, it makes no sense for them to have it anyway.
After 51 years of rule, Portugal finally lost its Indian colonies, who were incorporated into the Republic of India.
History class.
The Portuguese state of India was founded in 1505 as a viceroyalty of the Kingdom of Portugal, 6 years after the discovery of a sea route between Portugal and India by Vasco da Gama. Afonso de Albuquerque captured the city of Goa
same as they're preaching,
becoming the second European to conquer land
same as like when they
India
went to Japan,
Alexander
the religions came across and took over.
After 1510, the capital of the Portuguese viceroyalty was
banned.
moved to Goa.
And on YouTube, boobs on
Until
pictures.
the 18th century, the Portuguese governor of Goa had authority over the Portuguese possessions in the Indian Ocean from South Africa to Southeast
Why did
Asia.
Portugal own that terrain anyway?
In 1752, Portuguese Mozambique had its own separate government, and in 1844, the Portuguese government of India ceased to administer the territory of Macau, Solor, and Portuguese Timor, and its authority was limited to the colonial possessions of the Malabar coast of India.
I didn't know that. That's crazy.
After India's independence from the British Empire in August 1947, Portugal continued to hold a handful of exclaves on the Indian subcontinent. The districts of Goa, Daman and Diu, and Dadra and Nagar Haveli, collectively known as the Estado da Índia. Goa, Daman and Diu covered an area of around 4,000 square kilometers,
so it's still a
and
decent
held a
amount of
population
terrain,
of
really.
640,000.
Considering Portugal's how many miles, the actual country of Portugal is how many miles away?
1950, the government of India asked the Portuguese government to open negotiations about the future of Portuguese colonies in India. Portugal asserted that its territory on the Indian subcontinent was not a colony but part of metropolitan Portugal, and hence its transfer was non-negotiable, and that India...
So in other words, India came across, we want to speak to you, we want to sort this out, we want to understand what you're planning to do with this part of the land, which in reality is in India. That's just what it looks like to me. If you're from Portugal and you disagree, yeah, it's one of them. I thought it should be in India population anyway.
Had no rights to this territory because the Republic of India did not exist at the time when Goa came under Portuguese rule. When the Portuguese government refused to respond to subsequent
so India wasn't even a thing, so Portugal were there first.
The Indian government,
technically,
on the 11th of June 1953, withdrew its diplomatic mission from Lisbon.
Crazy. I didn't actually know that.
In 1954, the Republic of India instituted visa restrictions on travel from Goa to India which paralyzed transport between Goa and other exclaves like Daman, Diu, Dadra and Nagar
So they couldn't
Haveli.
even get out their
Between
own
the
way
22nd
to
of
go to the
July
other countries that
and
are
the 2nd
technically
of August
part of the Portuguese
1954,
metropolitan.
armed activists attacked and forced the surrender of Portuguese forces stationed in Dadra and Nagar Haveli.
So it took terrain back.
From 1954, the Satyagrahis, or peaceful protesters against Portuguese rule, outside Goa and Daman's borders, were violently suppressed through.
I've never seen, you can see going on currently in the UK, peaceful protests when they amass too many people. It's like a kettle coming to boil. The more people you add, the higher the temperature gets. It's like a powder keg waiting to happen. So bringing all these people along,
Many
never
internal
don't have
revolts
peaceful
were
for long.
killed by the use of force, and leaders extrajudicially murdered or jailed. As a result, India broke off diplomatic relations with Portugal.
The situation with this though is we now know, like in current times, India won this war for Goa. However, that sort of situation there could potentially be, because I've not seen many people from Portugal mention this anyway, and it's about how the truth is written by the victor. So like they go, oh well, we marched peacefully and we have 54 people injured by Portuguese Republic, but in reality it could very much well be the other way around. But because of truth being written by the victor,
general in Panjim
saying,
demanded
devil's
that Salazar
advocate,
regime should close its delegation in New Delhi. India also imposed an economic embargo against the territories of Portuguese Goa.
Portuguese quick
The Indian government adopted a diplomatic wait-and-watch approach from 1955 to 1961 and made attempts to highlight the issue of decolonization before the international community. On the 24th of November 1961, Sabarmati, a passenger
supposed to be
boat
political
passing
about it,
between
get the
the
right
Indian port
answers
of
and the right
Kochi
people.
and the Portuguese-held island of Angidiv, was fired upon by Portuguese ground troops, resulting in the death of a passenger and injuries to the chief engineer.
Oh my god.
The action was precipitated by Portuguese fears that the boat carried a military landing party intent on storming the island.
Okay.
The incidents lent themselves to fostering widespread public support in India.
Yeah, but once again, this is truth written by the victor. Portugal will deny this anyway. In reality, anything could have happened to anyone on that boat, and because you're going so close to that technically Portuguese land at that time, you're giving ammunition to a country which already thinks that it should be theirs.
Action in Goa. Indian Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru stated to the press, "Continuance of Goa under Portuguese rule is an impossibility."
It's impossible, so in other words, we're coming for you.
The Indians prepared 45,000 soldiers and planned to launch simultaneous operations against Goa, Daman and Diu.
Wow.
Goa was defended by only 3,500 soldiers, but Salazar sent a message to Governor General Manuel Antonio Vassalo e Silva, in which he ordered the Portuguese forces in Goa to fight to the last man. Salazar asked Vassalo e Silva
45,000 versus 3,500. You could send wave after wave after
to
wave.
gather international support against the Indian invasion.
Of course
Vassalo
would
e
be.
Silva disobeyed Salazar to avoid the unnecessary loss of human lives and surrendered the day after the Indian invasion.
Oh. So it's not really a war
Hostilities
then,
in
really.
Goa began at 9:45 a.m. on the 17th of December 1961, when a unit of Indian troops attacked and occupied the town of Molinguem in the northeast. Wanting to avoid escalation, the Portuguese High Command denied engagement and clearance for counteraction, restricting options for their ground troops. The main offensive, synchronized with the operations in
Portugal wanted to surrender the day after, but so they had a day war.
The next day. There were minor engagements between the Portuguese army and the Indians, as the Portuguese kept
You're just getting pushed. There's no way you can't hold that amount of terrain with that amount of troops against 45,000.
Panaji asked for a ceasefire. In the next morning, 19th of December at 7:30 a.m., the Indians crossed the river and secured the town without facing any resistance.
Yeah, you won't be able to. There's not enough troops to be able to hold that
south,
back.
the progress of the Indians was slower, and by midday they entered Margao, and after a fierce encounter, captured Verna at 3:30 p.m.
So it's not even that
From there,
long.
the
You're literally
Indians
just pushing
proceeded
all
to
Portugal
Mormugao
back to
and
the
Dabolim
the
Airport,
ocean.
where the main body of the Portuguese army awaited them.
You're literally being
Meanwhile,
forced out of that
Gil was
country.
intact, and the Portuguese commanders agreed in a meeting that in view of repeated military advances of the Indians, with naval and air strikes, along with the inability to establish contact with headquarters in Goa or Lisbon,
You got no chance.
there was
You
no
have
way
no
to pursue an
chance.
effective defense, and decided to surrender to the Indian military.
Yeah, I would surrender before. As soon as I saw Waffen go, I'm like, yeah, all good, bro.
In Daman, the Portuguese tried to resist, but after running out of ammunition, they began to withdraw to an airfield in Damo Pequeno, where they surrendered the next day. Two naval battles took
Fought
place
to the
during
last
these
man.
operations.
Okay, cool. Each
During the Battle of
phase,
Mormugao, the
a
Portuguese
day,
Navy
and then
advisor
yeah, I'm done.
Afonso de Albuquerque was sunk by 3 Indian Navy frigates, and the Portuguese vessel Vega, armed with a single 20mm piece, was attacked by the Indian Air Force near Jiu and sunk.
So there's no support. They were just getting battered by
The
India.
Portuguese in Goa retreated at the entrance to the port town of Vasco da Gama, where they had planned their last stand. Orders from Lisbon were
They
to
actually
resist
did.
to
I
the
thought
last
they
man,
surrendered.
holding out against the Indians until Portuguese naval reinforcements could arrive. Despite his orders from Lisbon, Governor General Manuel Antonio Vassallo e Silva surrendered at 8:30 p.m. on the 19th of December. The war had lasted 2 days and had cost 22 Indian and 30 Portuguese lives. When they received news of the fall of Goa, the Portuguese government formally severed all diplomatic links with India and refused to recognize the incorporation of the seized territories into the Indian Republic.
Oh, wow.
The Portuguese prisoners were released in the spring of 1962, but they were considered deserters and traitors by the Salazar regime.
Oh my
Following
God.
the end of Portuguese rule in 1961, Goa was placed under military administration, which was replaced on the 8th of June 1962 by civilian government.
So it didn't even last long.
Portugal
So once the
remained
military had
hostile
taken
to
over,
India
yeah,
until the Carnation Revolution in 1974, and on the 31st of December 1974, finally a treaty was signed between India and Portugal, with the Portuguese recognizing full sovereignty of India over Goa, Daman, Jiu, Dadra,
Yeah, it's
Nagar
theirs.
Haveli.
That is okay. Okay. So that was almost the best way of explaining that is Portugal acting like a child and throwing the toys out of the pram. It's like, it's mine, I own it, it's mine, I'm not giving it to you. But in reality, you've got India sending, when the video said they sent only 45,000 troops, and then Portugal like, we have 3,500 split over 3 different parts of the land. You ain't going to be able to fight that back anyway. I was surprised they put up a stand in reality, and to be labelled traitors when you knew if they died, you've just wasted your life. When you knew you were going to die anyway, if you fought back, you knew, didn't matter how many times you fought, there's still more Indian troops coming, because the country next to you, guess what, is India. Portugal's far away from Goa. I'm sorry, it is. There was no chance they were going to ever win that at all. But anyway, it has been King Sloth. Make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe. Remember, we can hit 5k before the end of the year. Let's get it done. Become a member to see all the videos early, and comment down below what I should react to next. It's been King Sloth. See you in a bit.